Welcome to the You're On Speaker podcast. I'm Kristen Campbell. Today we have a very, very special guest, one of my favorite people and favorite clients, Duke Johnson. Welcome. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
So, Duke, you are a client of Fleury Sports and Entertainment Group, but before all of that, you were a beast coming out of high school and college and in the NFL. I'm going to run through your stats and accolades because I know that you will not. But just to kind of give you a rundown, if you're not familiar with Duke Johnson, if you were from the 305 or anywhere in that would play the ACC at any time during, where are you at, 2015?
12 to 15.
12 to 15, you have heard of Duke Johnson. So coming out of high school, Miami Norland and Norland, what's that? Do they call it Carroll City, Norland?
Miami Gardens.
Miami Gardens.
Carroll City?
I'm just guessing.
No, Miami
Right?
Gardens. Miami Gardens, Florida.
Miami Norland out of Miami Gardens, Florida. Duke was a number one prospect coming out of that high school. He was the number one running back and number 30 in the country. He also led that team to a state championship his last year. So go Vikes. That shows, yeah. Let's see, what else did you accomplish? 5,000 yards in 3 years, and that's because we say 3 years because you were playing,
high school,
defensive. Yeah, you were
DB.
a cornerback, you were DB coming out of there, but then transferred over to running back. Who made that decision?
The coach.
Why?
Because running back was my original position. I only played defensive back because I felt like it was a need at the time, but I also could do that as well. But
so wait, let's go back. Let's go back before high school, right? You played at Liberty City Optimist, right? And so, what did you play during Optimist?
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were designated athlete now.
Yeah.
You went to IMG Academy.
Absolutely.
Athlete.
Absolutely. Like I played D-line, linebacker.
Wait. Who's D-line?
It was literally anybody can play D-line, and literally we was all the same size. It was literally play whatever you want.
Were you on the, you played like
D
ends?
tackle.
You played, no you didn't.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way. So
Absolutely. Because and literally the thing about it was the coaches didn't go on two. Most coaches went on one. So it was literally he's gonna say down said hut. And the moment he says hut, you ain't gotta watch the ball. You just get off the ball. Yeah, and it was very disruptive until they realized what we was doing and they started changing stuff.
So were you like dominating on both sides of the ball? Like did you ever come out the game?
Ish. I came out the game a lot
Yeah.
in Little League for sure.
Yeah. Why? Because you were like, I'm tired and hot.
Yeah, defense was just for fun. Sometimes we just played it for fun. It wasn't really a necessity. It was just we was doing it for fun.
So what got you into football? Because you played baseball at some point, correct?
Played baseball. I always say I wish I would have stuck with baseball, but
Yeah.
I had no chance in baseball.
Why not?
I couldn't hit the ball.
But you're an athlete.
I couldn't hit the ball.
You had no
The one thing you got to do in baseball, I could not do. I can steal bases. I can field.
But you couldn't.
I'd have been great at fielding and stealing bases.
But no
I
hand-eye
couldn't get on base.
coordination.
So, yeah, I would have done no good.
You needed to get hit by a pitch in order to get on base or walk. All right. So football was it. You knew, like, you were probably an active child, I'm imagining. Okay. And so mom was like, here's an out.
No, mom was like, you're not playing football.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Mom didn't want me to play football because it was dangerous and people got hurt. And I didn't understand that because
You were too fast.
no, just in the neighborhood, like, people was dying. And you talk about people getting hurt. Like,
Where'd you grow up?
Liberty City.
I mean, you could have played at Optimist Living Spring.
No, Liberty City. 83rd and 7th. But she didn't want me to play football. And then one year for Christmas, that was kind of my gift for Christmas was to play football.
Okay.
And she allowed me then.
And you were how old then?
7.
Okay. And you haven't looked back since. So from 7 all the way till we're not going to
Full-time job. 23 years, full-time job.
So Optimist, you played it all. High school, you dominated. Came out 5-star recruit. Went to University of Miami. Tell me about that experience. You sound excited about it. It was unique, right? Because you technically only played.
I only played 2.5
years.
But in the 2.5 years, I had 2 offensive coordinators and 3 running back coaches in 2.5 years.
And that makes a difference.
The 2 running back coaches I had on the back end of my career had never played the position.
So you were coaching yourself, essentially.
I've been coaching myself since my sophomore year of college.
Really?
I did have a good running back. I had a couple of good coaches in the NFL for sure. But for the most part, I've been coaching myself since my sophomore year of college.
Wow. So that's significant because when you get to University of Miami, like I said, you come in like this highly touted recruit. And I mean, your freshman year, like you're racking up yards. I think 2,000 your first year as well. Is that right? 1,000?
Close.
Right?
I was sharing the backfield with Mike James. So I had I want to say I was 30 yards, 40 yards off.
That's not bad.
From 1,000. But I had 1,000 all purpose because I returned. I think I'm tied with Devin Hester for kick and punt return. So I had 1,000 yards all purpose. It's just I was playing the backfield with Mike James. So
got it. Were you catching out the backfield? Because I think you are also tied for all-purpose yards.
I'm definitely tied for all-purpose yards, but I don't think I was catching out the backfield at that time. I think that didn't start until my second year.
Got it. And so, being that you were essentially coaching yourself, who made that decision? It was just like, I can do that. How were you coaching yourself?
It was so. It kind of reminds me of when I was in the NFL. I had a coach that hired his friend.
Okay.
To come be the running back coach, and on the friend's first day of the first day of coaching, his opening saying to us was, I'm just here. I heard this room runs itself.
So we're on autopilot. Okay.
And then he waited till we all left. He waited till the end of the day, and all the running backs left to hold me after to tell me he knows that the guys listens and gravitates towards me. So therefore, he's going to lean on me a lot to kind of push his message and help him out because not sure if he really understood the position.
Right. So you were essentially captain and kind of de facto coach, right?
I've been that. Yep.
Yeah.
For a while now.
So what was your style at that point? You're young. Like I said, you're new to you're probably a year and a half on campus at that point, or maybe a year on campus. How did you take on that role? And what was important to you? I mean, you guys wanted to win, but that wasn't really happening at the time, was it?
No.
So
no.
how did
So the thing about it was the recruiting class that we had when I came out was a lot of guys from Florida. A lot of us. A lot of us with the same mindset, the same mentality. But we had a head coach who had a different one.
Okay.
The head coach didn't have the same mentality we had. We wanted to be the Hurricanes that we seen growing up
in the 90s.
And he didn't want us to be that. He wanted us to be a different breed of Hurricanes, and we was all confused because we didn't come here to be a different breed of Hurricanes. Like we came here to be that. So we had the messaging was we had our wires crossed. Like he wanted one thing and we wanted another, and it was for 3 years. For 3 years that I was there, it was a constant fight on what we want and what he wants. And because he was the head coach, he felt that we should want and do what he says because of it. And I'm not sure if you know much about a lot of Florida kids, but it's never that simple.
Tell me about Florida kids. Yes, I'm from Texas.
Yes, so. it's never as simple as do what I say because I say it. It's never that simple.
Why not?
Because you need reason behind it. We need proof. We need Carfax. You're a coach that came from a school that was semi-successful, but you weren't at a big school. So if you was a coach that kind of came from somewhere that is quote unquote respectable, then what you say would be easiest to take.
Right.
But you came from a school that no one really knows. You haven't really been successful. So you telling us to do something just because you say it is not good enough.
So I'm imagining he didn't recruit you, right? Or did he?
No one really recruited me.
You knew
I was going regardless.
You were going regardless.
It didn't matter who the coach was because I committed under Randy Shannon. And then he got fired.
Got it.
And I was going regardless because it wasn't about Randy Shannon.
So I would say that would mean that there was a sense of loyalty. And I guess you tell me, what other reason did you stay? Like
loyalty to who?
To the school. Like you wanted to play for.
It was just a childhood dream of mine. It was a childhood dream, and I always told myself if I've ever had the opportunity to go, I was going. And it didn't matter who the coach was. It didn't matter who. It didn't matter.
Do you still feel like that was the right decision?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it was the right decision because, again, I stayed true to what I wanted and what I wanted to do. Was it the best situation for me? Probably not. But at the time, it didn't matter because I always felt that if I do my job and I do everything I can to help this team win, I'm going to be successful regardless of what school I'm at. And that's what I set out to do, was to do what I know I can do and be who I can be.
Since I've known you, you have been, very resolute about what you're going to do. Like you already have it in your mind. Like this is the plan, and are you going to help me execute it? Where did that mindset come from? And when did you know, like, no, I'm picking this, I'm sticking to this, and I'm going to see it all the way through? Or is that something that you saw, or it's just
No idea.
no, really?
No idea. I don't have a clue that. No, I do. False alarm. It came from my dad.
Yeah. And he was how did you see that, or did you hear that? Or
Respectfully, I'm not going to go into much detail, but what I will say is the things that he did taught me what to do.
okay,
Or the things he did or didn't do taught me that if I'm going to give somebody my word, if I'm going to tell somebody I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I tell somebody I'm going to be here at this time, I'm going to be there.
and you are that.
Yeah, it's just the way I operate. And being in the NFL and getting fined for being late doesn't help. Because it makes sure that you're on time, and you're not, if you have to be there at 10 a.m., you're there at 9:45, right? So it was my dad for sure, 1,000% the reason that I am, especially how anal I am about it, because I can be going out and I can be going on a date, and it's like, hey, let's meet at this place not meet, but we're gonna leave the house in 30 minutes. 30 minutes, I'm in the car.
It's on.
It's crunk. The car is crunk in 30 minutes.
I got the temperature to 78 or 72.
If you're not in that car in 30
problem?
minutes, we're going to have an issue. And a lot of people try to convince me like, oh, that's just women. They just, they take longer. And it's like, regardless of who it is, if we're supposed to be in the car at 10:45, if you got to start getting dressed at 8, start getting dressed at 8, but we're leaving at 10:45. And it blows my mind that for a lot of adults, not even just women, but just adults, period, like if we're going out and we meet at this place at 10 o'clock, how many people would not show up to 10:20? Like my brother.
Like me today.
My brother. my brother would be, I would tell my brother that, it's a group of us. So I have like a group of friends that have kids, and we're trying this whole take a village to raise them. So we're trying to keep everybody close and everybody hang out and we just bond. So for example, we went to the UM game. Went to UM game. My brother's always a designated driver. Always, because I don't like driving, and then
I was gonna say because you don't drink, you don't.
Yeah, no, I just don't like driving. And then my friend,
which is ironic because you got 1,000 cars, but go ahead, keep going.
And then one of my other close friends, Matt Days, lives in Parkland, so he has to drive from Parkland to where we live, which is a 35 minute drive. And then on top of that, you want him to drive another 30 minutes, so he doesn't drive.
Right.
So my brother drives. Every event, he's late.
Well, that's annoying.
And it boils my blood. And it doesn't matter. Like, he stays the closest. He stays 15 minutes up the street, and he's late every time. Matthew drives 30 to 40 minutes.
And he's early.
And he's beating Jared there. And I'm like, Jared, why can't you be on time? And every time it's an excuse. And it drives me crazy to the point where I'm not inviting him anymore.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
like,
no,
why
he's
you keep
not.
doing
He's
that?
not. He's not getting invited anymore.
Well, that kind of like you talked about the Florida boy mentality, or and it sounds like, again, I always think of South Florida time, everybody's late, right? Or 30 minutes is.
I'm adopted.
You've got like punctual Northeast time. But that community part is important, right? And so how did you guys come up with the idea to kind of raise your kids together, and why is that important to you? Why is that important to all of you all?
It's important to me because I want my kid to be around families and other kids who think not 100% like me, but we all have the same goal. Like, our goal is to do what we can to protect our kids, make sure that they're good. And the more people you have around that believe in that same motto will help you keep going, as well as protect and keep your kid if anything was to happen to you. So it's just about having people around you that can not only support you, but help your kids and kind of be one big family, which is driving me crazy. Because we got convinced to move to Parkland, because that's where Matthew Days lives. He lives out that way. So we're moving out there. I'm trying to convince Jared and Quincy to move out there as well, because Why not?
And Jared and Quincy are also part of your circle, have been for a long time. Jared, your brother, obviously. Quincy, you went to, how long y'all been going? I met Quincy like later on, but y'all went to high school together.
Quincy is the closest thing I have to like a brother. Yeah. Like,
yeah. Quincy is a coach.
I don't know what Quincy is.
What do you mean you don't know what he is? I mean,
Quincy's a coach.
Correct.
He's a coach mentally, but he kind of stepped away.
Okay.
He kind of stepped away because the life of a coach, the time consuming, that part is it's a lot for him. He just had a daughter, so he wants to spend time with his daughter.
And coaching makes that.
And coaching makes it difficult,
yeah.
which he gets, and he understands that he can grind for these next 10 years and put his daughter in a position that, you know, he wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So he's trying to find that balance.
Yeah. Well,
but
that's still your best friend. And
then
Matt,
it's frustrating because he's one of the best football minds I've been around. And it's like he has so much to give and so much knowledge to give and help these kids and these other coaches. It's just that he has to find his balance. And until then, he's not going to coach.
And these are conversations you all are having together. And Matt, too, because Matt played with you at
Matt's not a coach.
But Matt is a player, ex-player.
Ex-player, yes. Absolutely. Played with him in Cleveland. Know him. He's from Miami. Or he's from Broward. He's not from Miami.
So you all have
we don't claim him.
Family and football in common. I mean, except for Jared. Jared didn't play, but family and football seem to go hand in hand. And when I met you, that was kind of the sentiment. So, fast forward, we talked about college, and you're coming out of college. Like I said, you're kind of 3 years and done. You're entering the draft. You end up becoming the 77th pick overall. Go to the Cleveland Browns. And but when I met you, you were putting together your team, right? And this was during a time where, like, I remember Teddy Bridgewater was like, I don't want an agent. There was a lot of players that didn't really want to deal with an agency, and you had a lot of people coming and knocking on your door. And so I got involved with basically by being your counsel. Tell me why you decided to do or make your business that way in the beginning. Like, where did that come from?
What's that?
To not go just the traditional route of just hiring an agency and saying, okay, you guys can handle everything.
I think it was my mom.
Yeah.
I think it was she didn't feel comfortable with us dealing with other agents directly. So she used someone that she deemed to be family because they would have our best interests at heart. Because at that time, like, I knew you and I knew you, but I didn't really know you. I was young, and then that was one of those decisions where it was like, Mama, you think that's best? Let's do it. It was one of those.
So what was going through your mind during that process? Because was it different than coming out of high school, coming out of college?
I won't think about nothing.
Really?
Nothing.
Not the paydays coming.
Nope.
I've worked so hard for nothing.
Nothing.
You weren't excited about a team.
No.
You weren't excited about Combine. You went to Combine.
Hated it. If I could do it again, I would not go. I hated everything about it. If I could do it again, I would not get on that flight. I would not get on that flight to go to Combine. I just do pro day and make them figure it out. Y'all figure it out.
Did you have any context of what Combine was going to be before you got there? Okay.
Because the older guys told us what it was going to be, but it's always
your own experience is
different. And don't get me wrong, the Combine wasn't that bad. It's just the fact that they physically and mentally drained you, and then on the very last day, it's like, go perform at a high level. And
you're like, I'm good.
Yeah, it kind of stressed me out and kind of not. It was. I won't do it again.
Yeah.
Long story short.
Thankfully, you don't have to.
I would not do it again. I would not go back.
What do you think about, if you had to advise a player going through what you've been through? Like I said, they're getting ready to go into the draft. They're figuring out what's next. What advice would you give a player as far as putting their team together and just preparing for the league? Let's start with this. What one thing you would tell them for a actual physical preparation?
There's nothing I can really say to justify the magnitude of the importance of finding someone that you can trust to be able to be there for you, to support you physically, mentally, financially just to be there. Not someone who has something to gain from it, not someone who wants it because they can have it, but someone who genuinely just wants to look out for your best interest, even if they get nothing from it. Like, that's the hardest thing, is because you don't know. Because money doesn't change you; it changes the people around you. So it's not about you getting the money and you being different. It's just that's the toughest thing. It's finding, unless your parents has, which in our community for the most part is non-existent. Unless your parents has prepared you for the moment that you get money and know what to do with it, know how to handle it, know how to deal with it, know, right from wrong when it comes to handling your money and dealing with it, just being financial. What is it? Financial literacy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So being able to know what to do, that would take a lot of pressure off of that, right? But if you're a guy, whether you go first round or you're undrafted, you still get money and you still have opportunity to make a lot of money, and that's a big decision about who you have around you. Because when you're trying to play football or any sport at a high level, it's hard to play when there's a lot on your mind. When you have to worry about, is someone taking my money? Is someone not looking out for my best interest? It gets to the point where you rather just do it yourself, but it's so hard to do because you have so much to focus on, especially your early years in your profession. Is a lot tougher because you want to get the playbook. You want to make sure you're in the best shape of your life. You want to make sure you're making a connection with your teammates. You want to make sure you're doing all the right things to kind of make you successful, so you can see a second and third contract. And it's almost impossible to do it all by yourself. But then again, you look back at it, and if you don't have the right person, you better off doing it by yourself.
So I'm glad you said that. Like we have like that we had a 3-year philosophy, right? Like first year was about becoming a pro, learning the ropes, figuring out like how at least to get in the playbook, make yourself, I'm here, right?
Available.
I'm a part of this
Absolutely.
organization, right? Year 2, it's like, I got to get on the field and make a name for myself. So by year 3, it's like, people are like, we know who that is. We have an expectation that he's going to ball out. And so, we're talking 4 years 3 years out of 4-year contract, we're talking about extension money. And that's what you did. You were able to sign an extension in your 3rd year and be one of the top 5 highest paid running backs in the league at that time. But you also mentioned that's only 3 years when you're expected to learn how to manage millions of dollars just like that.
You have no history,
no context of it, right?
And so when I came out my rookie year, I kind of went to my high school and just talked to people just to figure out if there's a way we can teach life skills.
Like what, budgeting?
Budgeting, credit, being able to, different loan applications, just things that will help us as adults that we would know that can kind of help us. Because I joke about it all the time, but you asking me if a train leave going north at 30 miles an hour and the station is at station B, how long? Like, that's not going to help me. It's not going to help me. Like, I'm going to pass this class, but I'm going to fail in life. Like, no. So I think we need more life skill classes in school, which something I try to get my school to do, but I feel like it's a process. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse. But what I will say,
why do you think it's so hard? Because I think a lot of people have that. I think we all can agree that those skills are needed, right?
Why is what so hard?
Why is it so hard to implement things like this into institutions like your high school?
I don't have all the knowledge on it, but from what I believe, I think the district has mandated that students and teachers or students has to pass X amount to deem competent, or the school, for them to get a good grade, they have to pass this test for the school to be better or to be seen as better because they're passing the required material. But then when you pass it and you get into the real world, how much of that required material helps you? So I think the district is just focused on what they have to focus on. They're not focusing on the betterment of
the student body,
and the long term of them. They're just thinking of the right now to be able to say, yeah, we did everything we need to do. We completed all our tests. We did all our qualifications. The kids did great. Good. It's not about, I'm not sure if Dade County Public Schools is about making the best humans moving forward. I think they're more focused on now and passing these tests just to say we're up to par. So but my thing is, even if it's an elective, like I think in school we have art, and sometimes some schools got music, which jazz school has everything, which I didn't know they had.
Music and art and
everything. But for Dade County, I feel like we all should have electives to where it's about finances and learning how to budget and learning inflation and just understanding
how it affects your money.
Yeah, just money altogether, because again, like,
you were learning that on the fly. Like you were
on
learning
the fly.
And so I remember us coming up with your very first budget of
fly.
No, I remember you coming up with the budget. We're sitting with the accountant, and it's like, all right, this is what we need to spend. This, and it was a very conservative budget.
And
like
it
you
was
weren't
like
spending.
Yeah, but it was like, what are you spending money on? And I was like, nothing.
Right, you weren't. Well, I remember what you spent a lot of money on in the first year.
Which was what?
I was like shocked, like how much money you spent on this particular thing. Do you remember?
Was it iTunes?
Kind of, but it was like Candy Crush specifically.
Yeah, it was.
like,
it was.
I'm like, how do you spend this much?
It was
on?
Marvel's Future Fighter, and it was a game about the Avengers, and I love the Avengers,
and you kept losing, so you had to get.
It wasn't one of those games to where I was losing. It was like you had to build your team, and you got to be strong. And the more strong people you have, the better your team is. And they just kept getting me. They kept getting me. I played that every year for like me and Raheem Mosher did it in Cleveland. We did it for. Well, I for sure did it for 3 straight years of training camp. That was the one game I sat.
You were playing.
Oh yeah.
I'm concerned.
It was between that and movies. I bought a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows on iTunes because I spent most of my time in the house. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was a, and I would take that expense, like compared to other vices that I've seen. Like if it was going to be in-app purchases, that was fine.
You got to pick one. You got to pick a vice. That's why I used to tell the rookies, like, you got to pick one. Certain guys can pick more than one. Yeah. But pick one.
Do you think? I mean, and again, you've been in the league 8 years now, going on 8 years now. Have you seen?
9.
Wow.
This last year was 8. This would be 9.
This would be 9. Congratulations, because that's a big deal. Like the average, especially in your position, the average is less than 3 years, and right now it's I think closer to 2. So that's significant. So a big hats off to you. Proud of you. So when you went to Cleveland, immediately, like you got on the ball and you're like, all right, I need the budget. I need set out. Like we did set aside a little bit of money so you can buy your
that's what I'm talking about.
Mustang, right?
Have some fun.
You had some fun. You got the car. You are into cars, right? And you like what kind of cars?
Speed cars, fast cars.
Yeah,
has to be fast.
Yeah. At the peak, how many cars did you have at one time?
2.
2, really?
Peak.
No.
I've never had more than 3 cars at a time.
Okay. Well, you didn't, but there were more cars in your name at one point, correct?
In my name?
Yes.
Max 4. Max? Yeah, Nisha, Cassandra, and then my 2. Max. Okay. Max 4.
So you had a budget and that you ran, but there was also a family budget? Yeah? What'd you say?
Yes. So my family budget that I always put aside was for my younger siblings. It was always to make sure that, like, if they needed stuff, tutors, school, whatever it was, I just put it to the side for them. And I took care of the older, well, not the older, I took care of the older ones by providing them to a living space, which they lived at with my mom. So,
and that worked.
So barely
but worked, right? Worked. So you had, like I said, it wasn't necessarily your responsibility, but you kind of took on the responsibility of, provider for your family.
Never again.
Tell me about it.
I would never do it again.
Why not?
Because I don't think we understand as athletes when we spoil our families, take care of our families like that, they get lazy. Well, some of them do. I'm not gonna say everybody's family gets lazy because people's families different, but some families get lazy, and instead of keep working hard and keep doing it, they be like, "No, I'm not gonna do it because I don't have to."
Yeah. So would you say like money, like you said, money doesn't change
Me, it changes people
everybody
around me.
you.
Absolutely.
Do you think that there was a sense of comfort that led
Absolutely.
that led to,
Everybody got comfortable.
yeah.
Everybody got comfortable.
How
Nobody
did you remain uncomfortable in order to keep driving? Like, because again, you've got to do this week in and week out. Like, what did you do to keep yourself together other than play Marvel Avenger or whatever it was?
So I've always had my goal has always been just to play as long as my body will hold up. So as long as my body felt good, it was just, just keep playing and keep focusing on the next game and the next game. And then once the season ends, we reset and we just do it again, take it a game at a time. As long as my body feels good, I feel like I can hold up, I keep playing.
Did you ever feel pressure to have to continue to provide once it had begun? Like once the lifestyle had been obtained, not necessarily for you, but for everybody around you?
Pressure? No. I wish I could have got out of it earlier. I feel like I waited too late to get out of it. It was okay to do initially, kind of set them up to allow them to do things. But like I said, you giving them money, providing for them makes them lazy, and then they don't do anything. And it's not like it's incapable body. This is a more than capable body that can do things, that can provide for themselves. They just choose not to, right? So it's that for me, is knowing that I should have gotten out 4 years earlier.
But do you think you really would have? And I say that because I think that you're a benevolent person, that you wanted to, like, I remember there was a coach that you bought a car for because it didn't.
Cat daddy.
Right. And because he had been an integral part of your, career and your, growing up, and it was something like you didn't have a car, or did you have holes in the car or something like that?
Yeah, the car was badly holding on. We would come back from our football game in high school, and his car wouldn't crank. And he's in the parking lot trying to crank it, and it wouldn't crank. And it's like, I'm not sure if he felt embarrassed, because he was one of those coaches. I was like, bro,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. He was one of those, and it was to the point where it was bad. And I feel like he helped so many other guys along the way to get to the position that I was in that didn't help him. So I felt like I would help him. And he did a lot more for those other guys than he did for me. But you know how people are.
Well, how are people, right? Because I know you, and we've worked through this.
Respectfully, I do not like people.
Why don't you like people?
Respectfully.
You like people. You just
don't like people. Okay. Do not like people.
You like rude people.
Respectfully.
I don't think you like inconsiderate people.
Let me tell you why I don't like people. Because I've always been in a position to where if I go out and I do something wrong, or if me and you get into it and I do something, I say something, you can sue me. I would lose everything I worked for because you, right? And me, not just you, but both of us. But I'm losing everything I worked hard for, right? And a lot of times there are people in this world that go out every Saturday hoping this happens and kind of egging guys on and egging people on to try to sue them to take what they earn. And
have you seen that in real? Like, have you experienced that yourself or with friends? Like, have you witnessed that?
No, because I'm the only one in my friend group that can get sued. The rest of my friends can't get sued, so they can fight all they want to. But it comes to a point where, for me, it's about control. And we always talk about control as you can control. I can't control another person. So I don't leave my house and I stay away from people because I can't control you. I don't know what you want. I don't know your intentions. I don't know if you're trying to set me up. I don't know if you trying to, like, I don't know. So to minimize that, I just stay away from people. The ones that I know, I spend as much time around you as I can and spend time with you as much as possible. But as far as going into random places and going to parties and going to clubs, and like if I go to a concert, like when I go to UM games, I'm in a suite. I don't allow myself to be around other people that I can't control because I know me and I know how I react to certain situations. So I don't put myself in those situations that I know I react a bad way that won't show well on my character. So I just stay away from people. A lot of people are just evil, mean, terrible people. And then you have some great people. But there's so many bad people in this world that I just rather stay away.
You're not trying to engage.
No, like I'm cool.
You come in peace.
My goal every day I leave my house is to make it home. I don't believe in like road rage, people be getting upset. Y'all got it, bro. I don't know what y'all got going on today. I don't know your girlfriend broke up with you. I don't know you're having a long day. bro, you may just got some bad news. You got it, bro. I'm cool. And a lot of times growing up in where I grew up, it's like people's like, "Oh, you soft, or that's soft, or man, he got to get his." I'm like, bro, I got a kid.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make it home. I don't really. You got it, bro.
Yeah.
You don't bother me. I won't bother you. You had a long day. I apologize. I didn't know. Go on about your business.
Yeah.
So it's about. It's just people are so unpredictable, and I don't like that. It like me being out in public gives me anxiety. Cause at any given time, I don't know anybody around me. I don't know your intentions. I don't know nothing about you. Like I was standing outside on the steps and just people kept walking behind me, beside me. And it's like I got to look at every person because it's like you're kind of too close. I don't.
Did you have that experience growing up where it's like I have to make sure that we're protected? I have to make sure that again we are safe. Did you feel that growing up?
No, because I feel like the older guys in the neighborhood made sure the kids were safe. I feel like the guys who was in the stuff made sure that the kids were safe. So as a kid, I was a kid. Like it was dangerous. There was a lot of times where bad things could have happened and went wrong, but I was a kid. I was enjoying it, and the older guys was the ones that was looking out for the kids.
Yeah.
But now that I'm kind of older now, it's like I gotta look out for myself.
And you have a different experience with your kid, right? Like he's not growing up in the same environment that you're in. Like
Absolutely
how do you
not.
think about? Do you think do I expose him to it? Do I not? Like what
Oh,
do you do? How do you see yourself raising him with that context? Like I grew up totally different than you.
Tease him the way I tease his mama.
You don't know what a candy lady is?
I was in college, and there was one of our strength coach named Coles, loved him to death. Coles asked us, when we get older, we make it to the NFL, we are successful in whatever our fields are you gonna raise your kids in the hood?
And everyone said a resounding,
absolutely not.
Right.
It's not happening. And he was like, "Why? Look at y'all. Y'all
turned
grew up.
out all right.
Y'all turned out good. Why not?" And it was like, because we don't have to. Like we don't have to. It's like it's okay to not want to be that anymore. It's okay to want to. So the way I'm gonna deal with my kid is tease him. You don't have a candy lady.
Yeah,
you don't have a candy lady.
You don't know this experience.
I did
right?
I was doing a project for school, and it was basically describing the neighborhood that I grew up. And I had to compare it to a guy that I read about in a book, and he was saying how he missed the aesthetics of a neighborhood, and he missed how the neighborhood was friendly to the people in it, and the neighborhood served its purpose to the community. And the more I looked at my neighborhood was not that.
Yeah.
My neighborhood didn't serve no purpose. My neighborhood didn't serve because it served a lot of purpose, but it wasn't aesthetically pleasing. Like Jazz was saying, how her neighborhood was well-mannered lawns,
people came out,
nice fences, everything's looked good, and I was like, that's not a necessity.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we talk about like a necessity, it's not a necessity, and we got that now, but.
So I feel like I grew up like Jazz, although I had to go to the country and have a different experience, right? So my parents always took me back. And so I think about where you come from. Like they did a story with ESPN one time and said, like, if you draw a 5-mile radius around just Charles Hadley Park in Liberty City, it's like the most NFL active players at one point came from that 5-mile radius, right? So they said a lot of great people came from there. Les Miles, who was a motivational speaker, he came from there. Like I know a ton of successful people that came from there, and it goes back to what you were talking about with like laziness and comfort, and you I believe can be successful coming from either environment, but just that idea of like getting out, right? And once you get out, then what, right? Because my question to you is, and I wonder if this translates to why people got lazy around you, as you would say. It was more like we've been in survival mode for so long, right? We've been trying to make it. We've worked really hard to get to this point. We need a break, right?
We who?
All the people in your
who? No,
the people
no. Who worked hard to get here?
Lazy. You worked hard.
Who worked hard
right?
to get here? That's the thing.
Did you ever get tired?
That's the thing.
Did you ever feel like there was a moment where there was like a switch where it's like, okay, I made it, now what? And did it really feel any different?
Nah, I've never had I made it switch because.
Do you think that's common? Like, because I don't think that there is a switch between going from, making $5 to $5 million. Yes, there's a lot of zeros and it looks good the first time, but as far as your life changing, when you made that first check,
you don't realize the effect that having more money is gonna do to your life. It's not so it's not about everybody thinks money solves problems. They do. But they cause a lot more. They cause more problems than they solve. I can almost guarantee that. Because then again, so I always joked about I want to make a lot of money, but I don't want to make enough money where I need a bodyguard.
okay.
Right? I don't want to make enough money where I have to
Worry about
call
your
ahead.
safety.
Yeah, I don't want to be that. I don't
You
like.
can cause a riot if you go out places like
Yeah,
apparently
like-
Drake can't go to certain places without.
How fun is that?
That doesn't sound
That doesn't
fun.
sound fun at all. And this comes from someone that doesn't leave the house, right? So for there to be a money kind of a limit to money, which don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people that makes a lot of money that no one knows. A lot. And but I'm not in that profession yet.
You don't. What do you think that again? Your salary is going to be on the internet. People watch you every Sunday, and now with the internet and social media, like you can find pretty much whatever you want to find or think you want to find about somebody. So your privacy is pretty much kind of null and void. How do you navigate? And it's been like that for you for some time. I think in the beginning because you were so good at what you did, right? So you did have to trade a lot of your success to, giving up a lot of privacy. People felt like they needed to have access to you because it's like, oh, I've been watching you since high school and I've been a fan. How do you navigate that fandom? What's that like?
Terrible.
Different, right?
It's terrible.
Different. So I think
No. Terrible.
terrible. Is it no, because you've had
So don't get me wrong, the fans not bad.
Right.
Like the fans and the people that want to be fans and want autographs and want things, they aren't bad people. It's not bad to want that. It's just tough sometimes because you have to do what sometimes you don't want to do.
right.
Like if
Right.
I'm out with my
Right.
family and I want to just hang out and I don't want to take pictures,
You don't have that luxury.
I don't have that luxury, which I do, but I don't.
Right.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
So where fandom and everyone thinks again having a lot of followers and have a lot of fans is a good thing, and it's not. If I could have got my money in peace with no fans, I could have 200 followers on Instagram. Lovely. Lovely, because it's
I get to do my job and go home like
and go
everybody
home like a
else.
regular civilian.
So-
I don't want to be on no pedestal. I don't want to be, and it's not my fault that I'm just good at what I do. But I can imagine being Odell.
Yeah. Right.
Couldn't. I
Right?
couldn't.
Right.
I couldn't do it.
The trade-off, I think people take for, I'm very quick to correct, sport watchers, fans, when they're very critical about, what you all do. And I mean, just in a game, it's like, oh, they blew this play. Oh, he should have caught that ball. And it's like, that's really easy for you to say, right? I think, what's the biggest misconception do you think that fans have about what you do or how things play out?
I don't argue with no one that can't do my job, nor have no one in your family ever done it. You've never witnessed anybody that can do my job, ever. You can't do my job. I'm not arguing with you. I don't even care if you're on TV. If you're on TV and your whole job has been in somebody's room, typing, watching the film, you can't do my job. You've never done it. So you can't tell me how to do my job.
So there's
To
just
me, to me, it's
like move on.
No,
move
it's
on.
to me it's simple as that. Like sometimes it's frustrating because again, there's a lot of people that just go on and just talk, and it'd be easier to respond. It's so hard not to respond because you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't know what you're talking about. But instead of me telling you know you don't know what you're talking about, I'm gonna let you stew in it and just let you realize you know what you're talking about, and I'm just gonna ignore you.
Everybody has an opinion.
That's what social media do.
That's what it is.
I'm
right?
cool with that.
Right.
Have your opinion.
Right.
But bro, if you can't do my job, bro,
I'm going to take it with a slight grain of salt. Actually, not.
I don't
right?
argue with nobody that cannot do my job or has never done it. Like
think
if you sit on your couch all day and watch football, if you're a sports fanatic, hats off to you.
Right.
I respect you. But sir, ma'am, you cannot do my job. And it doesn't matter how simple you think it look.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
Yeah, I saw Kittle talking about just the week and how basically every day it's like running into a car. Like your body is basically
as a running back. No, running back, car crash.
Right.
Every time you get the ball, it's a car crash.
Right.
They say it's equivalent to a car crash.
How many times a day?
Every time you touch the ball and you get hit.
And so
it's
on
a car
average,
crash.
you're taking how many times a game?
So a game, me maybe 8 to 9, maybe. Nick Chubb, 23. Josh Jacobs, the same. All those high-end top guys, they taking 20 to 25 car crashes a game.
A game. 17 weeks.
A game.
That's not the playoffs.
And you want me to entertain you who sit on your couch and just watch games about how I should run or things I should do better or why I'm not successful or why. Sir, ma'am.
Let me ask you this. Can you take me through a week of, like I said, that's just Sunday, right? That's Sunday where, let's just take, like I said, you've gone through 8 to 9 car crashes, the equivalent of such, on Sunday.
Okay, so Sunday, and then
right.
Monday between.
Well, let's go to Sunday night, right? Because
Sunday you beat up.
And you have, family in town that you have to cater to?
No, I'm not catering to it, but most people have family in town you have to cater to. Right. Yeah, because they come to the game and they want the full experience. They want to go out and kick it. And sometimes you would do it, but for me, I had a house big enough to have my family there. It was a nice little house, not a mansion, but just enough space to have everybody.
Nice TV room
just have everybody there. So what we gonna do is somebody go cook or order some food, and we go sit here and do nothing. I'm beat up. My ankle sprained. I got bumps and swellings all over my body. I'm not going out to have no fun with y'all. And y'all, if y'all want to do this, we gonna do this before the game. And even then, I gotta get some sleep. Right. So it's like.
So that's just Sunday and Sunday night. So Monday comes.
Monday comes is recovery. You go in, you just get a workout in, you move around, just try to get that lactic acid out of your body, try to get unsore. Tuesday is technically an off day. It's not off day. It's not off day. It's never off day. It's never.
Why is it never an off day?
Because
you've got marketing obligations. You've got some team obligations.
Sometimes you got marketing. So there's really no true. You have to do this,
but
you have to do it because you gotta prepare for the week. You gotta come in and work on your body, make sure you're healthy. You gotta watch some film. You gotta get a jump start on the week. So you have to do something. You're just not home doing nothing. Even if you home and you don't go in the building, you still gotta try to catch up on some film to be prepared for the next day. And you have to just be prepared, right? And then we go Wednesday. Wednesday, depending on the team, depending on what time of the year you in, that's your day. That's the day where you're banging, you got on pads. We going. We going. And God forbid you're still sore from Sunday and you still be there from Sunday. You got to figure it out. You got to try to navigate and figure out, see if your coach will work with you to get you some plays, but not really bang you up because you still hurting. And that's probably before meetings. And then you got the rest of the day. You sit in meetings from, call it 1 p.m. to like 5, 6. You're out the building. You're not out the building. Depends. If you beat up, you got to get more treatment. Got to get some more treatment. If you miss your workout, you got to get a workout in. You gotta do all that stuff. Thursdays, you kind of just start to slow down, short yardage, goal line things to kind of get your feet up on you. But same thing. If you beat up, you got treatment. Even if you're not beat up, you still got to get some treatment. Still got to check in, make sure you're all right. You got to get your lifts in. And then Friday. I think the hardest part about football that people really don't realize is how much effort it takes to play football.
And by that, what do you mean?
So we all look at football and we all look at guys every day and it's like, oh man, I can do that. Or I could have made that throw. I had my neighbor tell me yesterday that he could have made a throw that one of the quarterbacks missed. You can't. Because we're so good at what we do, we make it look effortless. We make it look easy. It's not that easy. So I don't think people understand the amount, how hard it is to play football.
We're talking about the 1% of 1%, right? Like coming out of college, absent that Alabama team that had like Jalen Hurts, Tua, and like basically everybody was a first round pick and done well. Most teams don't have.
And a lot of those guys on that team didn't make it.
I think that's another thing.
They had a lot of guys, but those guys just happen to stand out. Correct. But there's a lot of guys on that team
that did not make it, and that were great players.
Or they made it, they just didn't produce.
Right.
They just did. They fell through the cracks.
Right.
So yeah, no, it's.
Yeah, to be a pro, like I said, to be a pro it takes work in any profession, right?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. That's just like me looking at someone who will go to an office at 9 a.m. and have to stay at a desk all day making calls, sending emails. I couldn't do it.
Right? You're like, you can have it,
bro.
You're finding a little mouse jiggler.
Bro, listen,
like, I'm out.
I couldn't do it. Like I don't think we appreciate everyone's job, and we all look at somebody else's job and be like, oh man, I can do that, or that's easy. And it's like, no, it's not easy. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like if you're good at your job, you're good at your job. Everybody just can't do it.
Right.
Like, right. It low key stresses me out because I have a level of respect for people in their jobs that is like, bro, you got it. Bro, I could not ride around no FedEx truck all day dropping off packages to people's house. No, I couldn't do it.
One of them doesn't have AC in the truck, so.
But think about it. Then you got to deal with hypothetically you drop the wrong package off to the wrong person's house. Now they're pissed, and the person that they didn't get their packages upset. You got to go out in this hot weather. You got to get up. You got to do stuff. Back hurt, legs hurt. You may get chased by a dog. You may walk into somebody's neighborhood that you feel me. You ain't welcome. It's a lot. Bro, just have respect for people's jobs. I get it. Y'all got y'all fantasy leagues. Y'all got y'all bookie tickets. I get it, man. I understand. Y'all trying to. I get it. Bro, respect people's jobs and the things that they put their effort into. Yeah.
But you have again, and just based upon your record, you kind of have a spirit of excellence in that, whether it's if I was good at dropping off packages, right? If I was good at office work, I would put 100% in that as well. Right?
100%.
That's it. It does not matter what it is. Put 100% in it, right?
Man, if it's making you happy, it's providing for your family, do it. Like I seen this video about the food reviewer Keith Lee.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, and how he went to Atlanta, and his whole thing was, from what I understand, is he wanted just to be treated like a regular person.
Correct.
And a lot of these businesses wasn't doing that. They would treat him like celebrity, and he didn't like that, right? Because he wanted the experience of a regular consumer.
Are you treating people well, no matter who it is?
That's it. Yeah, and then people on social media is mad at him.
Like, why would you do that? You have celebrity status, right?
But I didn't ask for it. What I'm doing is feeding my family. It's not about the being famous. It's not to me. That's what it seems like for him. It's not about being famous. Yeah. He don't care to be famous. He cares about doing what he has to do to provide for his family. And he's a food reviewer that blew up on TikTok.
Right.
So my thing is respect people's jobs. Like his job, especially if they enjoy it and it's bringing them money to be able to provide for their family.
Right.
Who are you to say you can do it better? Because if you can do it better, you'll be doing it.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah. That kind of helps me to transition to like this whole idea of name, image, likeness, and that college players can now, right? They can now profit off of their name. Like before, when you were in school, just coming out of high school, going to University of Miami, like I said, all of the accolades that I read through, what could you have made and what work would you have been willing to do? Like, would you have been ready to commit to, a couple of posts a day, going to meetings, like figuring out how to maximize your dollar and
Absolutely.
At the same time learning how to manage that money, right? Because like I said, you were an adult when you were having to do that. Now we're talking about 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
If these NIL deals are coming with
financial literacy,
great. If they're not, terrible idea. I think all the kids that's getting this money should be able to find ways to make it last because we are not making it to the NFL.
Correct.
WNBA.
Yeah.
MLB, we're all not making it. If you got a chance to make the money, make it. Save it.
What would you say? Like I said, you've been through, and you've also been through that small window of like having to figure things out on the fly. How would you tell a young person who's like I said, NIL, a lucrative NIL prospect, about navigating and putting their team together, or putting things together very quickly so they can continue to succeed?
It's always going to start at the top.
Yeah.
You got to find that one person you trust that's going to look out for your best interest. It's always going to start there. Like, unless you have that trust with that top person that closest to you, that they're going to look out for you, it's very hard to be successful. Very hard, because every day, if you keep track of your account and you look in your account and you see money missing and you're like,
what is happening?
what is happening?
So what do you think your NIL evaluation would have been? I have some idea. I have some speculation, right?
I'm not gonna lie. Based off what I've heard that someone at the University of Miami is making,
You think you'd be comparable to that?
more.
Yeah.
More. I think I would be more valuable than most of anybody on the offense right now.
What so coming out of, like, again, playing college, going to league, you've got $1 million in your pocket. What would you have done with that million earlier than what you did with your money later?
Probably would have either invested it or bought a property, or like bought my forever home. The only issue was I didn't know exactly where I wanted to live.
Yeah.
But if I can do it all again, and I know where I want to live, I would just bought my property in college. With my NIL money, I'd have bought my property. Even if I didn't live there, I'd have had it, and it would have been there. So when the time came, it was paid off, cash, we good to go.
And you had a place to live.
Had a place to live.
Cool. I want to keep going on and on and on, and I'm going to bring you back again, but I really appreciate you being so candid and so honest, and
sure.
giving us some jewels and gems. Thank you. I've enjoyed you. I hope you guys enjoyed us today on You're On Speaker. It's Kristen Campbell. Join us next time, and we got some good news for you.